Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dr. Hyena and welcome back to another video. Now, today I'm going to be doing a quick, FAQ or Q&A sort of video. These are just questions that I get asked a lot about Eternal Enemies, especially, with the Recode update, so let's get right into it. So first thing is, how do you pounce slash latch? I've explained this, a few times before, and it's the same across all devices. You just hold down whatever button it is that you use to attack. So, on mobile, it's like the 3 claw marks button, you hold that down. On a console, you hold down the trigger. On PC, you hold down the left mouse button. So, yeah, it's, much more kind of simplified than before when it was just a different control altogether. Alright, next question. How do you find locations? So, as of right now, the way you find them is by holding B and going to scent mode. And by doing that, you can actually see all the different locations around you. Or not even just around you, but also, across the map, really. And as you get closer to the question marks, those question marks are territories that you can claim if you create or join a group, and then the leader of that group can claim them. And once you've claimed them, you can have your cubs and whatnot, start a legacy, all that jazz. So, yeah, so that tends to be how that works. And a very closely related question is number 3, will a mini-map be added? Personally, I don't really want a mini map. I've been playing some other games lately that don't have mini maps, and they have kind of a similar, location system to what I have right now, and that seems to be a direction that I want to explore a bit more. So as of right now, probably not. But if you guys really want there to be one, just know you probably wouldn't be able to open it like while you're moving, for example, because I do feel like that's a little overpowered in a lot of ways. I get that it's kind of standard for the genre or whatever, but at the same time, if you can just like look at a minimap and know exactly where you're going at all times, that kind of takes the fun out of the exploration. There's like no challenge to it. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it really, but if you guys really want it, I could technically add one just like what Wrath of Nature has. Um, the difference being though that you would have to stop moving in order to actually use it, because just to like balance out the gameplay, especially since the map seems big, but really it's like half the size, if even that, of the old one, or like maybe even a quarter of the size. It's a lot smaller is the point. So, yeah, it just looks bigger because there's like more hills and things like that. All right. Number 4, will painted dogs and leopards be returning to Eternal Enemies? So the answer to this is probably. Now with the painted dogs, almost certainly yes, but not as a playable animal. Instead, they'll be NPCs, so you'll have a few packs scattered around the map. They'll hunt for themselves, and then as like a hyena or a lion, you could try to like steal from them. As a lion, it would be pretty straightforward. They usually do run, especially in that part of Africa where lions are just like a huge killer of painted dogs. As a hyena, it'd be a bit more numbers based. Like, usually from the video that I see, if there's like 3 or more hyenas together, even a big pack of painted dogs won't really like mess with them too much. Like, they'll harass them and then they'll just like run off, or just like lose interest entirely. So, yeah, very, very interested to see how those sorts of interactions would go down. But, it is kind of going back to this sort of theme that I want to explore more of PvE, so player versus environment, rather than just PvP, which is player versus player, which is what the old game and, things like Wrath of Nature and Mosaic Survival would lean into a bit more. Alright, number 5. When cubs grow, do they help you fight other lions slash other hyenas? So, the answer to this is no, but they do help you hunt. And if you're attacked by, let's say you're a hyena and you get attacked by a lion, if your cubs are at 80% growth or older, they actually will help to like defend you. So that's kind of the age where they can, they're essentially subadults by then, so they can help you hunt, they can help you fight, things like that. So it is still really cool, and I'll definitely be making a video with like more detail on that soon and kind of showing that in game. But it's a lot of fun from all the time that I've played with it, at least. Um, all right, so number 6, will there ever be playable cubs? So probably not. However, um, I should say probably not by default. So I have been entertaining the idea of maybe a hardcore mode. Um, I don't know exactly how I would implement that. Maybe it would be like, I don't know if you guys ever play certain story mode games, but if you do, some of those, right, you can use like a single cheap purchase of Robux, and then you get like an extra life. So, it could be something like that, where instead of getting an extra life, you get to start out as a cub. Because, the reason it would be paid is because it's just not the point of the game anymore. Like, you have Wrath of Nature for that. The point of this game is to raise offspring rather than to play as them. So, if it ever does get added, it will be, monetized. It's not going to be free. Again, just not the point of the game at all. But, yeah, so the answer to that is maybe. We'll see how that goes. And then last one for this video is, will there be more customizations? So the answer is actually yes, there will. There will probably be a new game pass for main shapes. Actually, you know what? Instead of it being a game pass, I think instead it would cost in-game currency. So if you want to spend Robux on that, you can do that. But you could also earn in-game currency by, raising offspring and defending territory and things like that. That is another question, actually, is like, how will the males, get more coins, since the females can get that by like raising offspring, and they can get a lot from that. So the answer to that is, in the future there will be probably more mechanics regarding like territorial defense and, things like that. So yeah, so those are kind of the 8 most common questions that I get asked. If you guys have any more, feel free to leave them in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care, peace out, and goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.